I decided that didn't have enough projects going on and wasn't digging quite enough. Not quite enough shovel time, so I decided to build myself kind of a rocket heater contraption for heating up the water for my scalding. For my I got a bunch of chickens and turkeys coming up that I gotta butcher and defeather. So what I want to do is kind of, instead of going ahead and using the stove in the kitchen or using a propane heater outside, I kind of want to go heat the water with wood, because I got a ton of wood here, real nice piles of already dry, smaller pieces of firewood all over the place. So what I'm doing here is I'm mining some clay. I'm just taking the old rototiller and tilling it up. I could just dig it up, but it's pretty dry here lately, so I kind of want the tiller to break it up into this kind of crumbly bits, so I can mix it with water and form it without so much trouble of breaking up the big chunks. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just kind of taking a 5-gallon bucket at a time here, and then I'll mix it up and I'll make it over here by the fire pit and see how it goes. So I need it to be stout enough to kind of hold what I'm using is a metal garbage can. So I want it to kind of be able to hold the metal garbage can up. So that's how kind of the scale I need it to be. But I don't want it to be too high off the ground either. But we'll see. This is just kind of something I'm going to make it as I go and see how it works out. Enjoy. Alright, so I'm kind of cheating here, making the base. I just used a piece of old roofing tin. I kind of bent up the side just to make a nice thick, like 2-inch thick base. And I'm just using the clay that I just tilled up over there. And kind of what's nice about doing it this way is I didn't try to move the grass or anything. The grass is all getting incorporated into it, kind of like how cob is supposed to be. So I'm thinking this will make a pretty good base. So I'll just make this base, and then a burn chamber here, and then a heat riser here. That'll be wide enough to place stuff on top of it, so I can cook with it outside, for big stuff if I need to. So this is the second step. I'm here making the base. Enjoy. Alright, so cheating a little more again. I'm going to use this bit of fence wire as a form for the burn chamber. Just kind of something I can lay the cob over and kind of hold it up. I might end up putting just a feed bag over the top of this, a paper feed bag, to keep it, to keep the cob from falling through, and it'll all burn away eventually. So it's not a matter of it being permanent. So I think I left myself enough room to make a pretty good heat riser, and we'll see how it goes. All right, so here's where the wood will go, where the fire will be. And then the heat riser will be up around here. And then the chimney effect of the heat riser will pull air through the fire, causing it to burn real hot. And then I can heat up water real fast without using too much wood or propane or the kitchen stove. Enjoy. Alright, so I did use a piece of charcoal bag to cover the metal framework for the burn chamber. I just got the first little bits on the side, so I'd take a picture of kind of what it looks like as it's going through. The inside looks pretty good. I don't know if I'd really need the paper, but I'm gonna keep it in there anyway. Enjoy. Yeah, well, here's kind of the start of the kind of taking shape. This stuff is really nice to work with, actually. Can form it real easy. It's easy on the hands. Kind of looks neat too. Kind of very organic shape. So I just got to fill in the rest of the burn chamber here, and then I can start on the riser. I'm just mixing up dirt and what was going to be a pig trough. I got an extra. It's working pretty good. it's a third of a 5-gallon or 55-gallon plastic drum. Enjoy. Alright, I got the burn chamber done, and now I'm putting the heat riser on. Putting some just a wire tube I made up out of some welded wire fencing, just to act as a framework. You can see I cut out, so I'm going to fill this in with cob here, and then this is where the burn gases will come through into the heat riser to be burned more thoroughly. So I want to create a bit of a choke point there, so the draw kind of pulls the fire up into the heat riser. We'll see if it works or not. I'm not using any kind of dimensions or anything. I'm just looking at it as far as you know, what looks right to me. And this is my first time building anything like this, rocket technology or cob ever. So I'm just kind of playing. Enjoy. Alright, well, that's it for the first day. It's getting kind of late. I'm gonna go get cleaned up and do my thing. Now you kind of see I made the choke point from going from the burn chamber into the heat riser, and I kind of got the heat riser started a little bit, you know. So I should be able to finish up the rest tomorrow. This didn't take very long, actually. So the fire will burn in here, and that choke point will pull air through real fast. That's the theory behind it anyway. So we'll see. I'll finish up the heat riser tomorrow and maybe light a fire in it, see what happens. Enjoy. Yeah, I got getting up towards the top of the heat riser here, and thought I'd share a little tip that I just found out. When I first started, I was kind of building the riser up on the outside of the wire, and when I got up to about, I don't know, a third of the way to the top, it started slumping, you know, like pulling off the frame and looking like it was just going to fall over. So I tore it all down. And then what I'm doing is kind of taking a blob in each hand and putting one hand on the outside and one hand on the inside, and kind of making a sandwich around the wire frame. So you see the wire frame is now in the center of the heat riser, the wall of the heat riser. And I'm getting no slumping, and it's going a lot faster. And I don't think that the wall needs to be nearly as thick as if I was doing it the other way, trying to make it straight up and down. It probably doesn't help that this heat riser is not exactly level. It's kind of leaning back a little bit, which is a neat look, I guess. And I didn't plan it that way, but it the back side of the clay wanted to slump off, so I really had to kind of jam it on the frame, and now it's holding on real nice. So I'm almost to the top, and just thought I'd share a tip. Enjoy. Okay, so I got all the way up to the top, and just as I was finishing off the edge of the top, the entire thing fell over. So I tore it all the way back down. It gave me a chance to reform the burn chamber here. It was a little lopsided and kind of slumping on the top too, so I put this little support in there, which I'm going to leave in there, and I'll light a fire in there, and it'll burn out. After I'll just let it set like this. So I'm going to make a new form for my riser, since the old one got mangled as I was taking the clay back off of it. So here we go. We'll try again. Okay, so I made a new riser frame, and I tie wired it to the frame supporting the burn chamber. So hopefully that'll hold it a little bit more steady until I can get a fire in it and get it to set up and dry. I'm going to do the same method and put the mud around the frame, instead of on one side or the other. That way the frame is in the middle of the mud and should hold it real well. And I got it a little more level this time, and I'm going to be a little more careful about keeping it straight up and down so it doesn't collapse like it did last time. So anyway, enjoy. Okay, take two. I did kind of the same thing where I just mushed it in on both sides. I'm almost to the top. It seems really pretty sturdy this time. It's not breaking like last time. It broke all along here, and I could see that it was not really gonna work. But I tie wired the support structure together, so it just takes a little bit of extra support to hold it together until it's once it's dried. Obviously it'll be just, you know, hard as a rock. So this way seems to be working better, and I'm actually glad I got to redo the burn chamber. It just seems to have a much nicer shape, and it's way taller now. Before it had kind of slumped down and wasn't tall. Now it's really nice and tall, so it's coming together. Enjoy. Alright, well, here it is standing. I just kind of got my hands a little wet and just smoothed everything out, so that's why it looks all shiny right now. It looks pretty good, I think. There's a nice flue back in there. I can see that the light's not the greatest right now. I think what I'm going to do is put a small fire in it and maybe just kind of keep it going for a little while just to start the process of it curing. If I could get it partially dry, you know, just so like there's an inner, you know, half or quarter inch of the clay that's set, and that'll hold it, let it hold together a little bit better until it can cure thoroughly, and then, you know, start putting bigger, hotter fires in it until it's all the way cured. I've never done this before, so I might be doing it completely wrong. But I really think I got to start to drive some of the moisture out of it so it dries out a little bit quicker. So that's what I'm going to do. Enjoy. I decided to just go ahead and put a big old fire in it. It's doing pretty good. Kind of closed up the front. It was having a little bit of a competing chimney, so there was a little bit of smoke coming out of the front, but if I close it up and just leave that little sliver open, it doesn't smoke back, and it's really not putting out any smoke at all. It's really just burning really thoroughly like it's supposed to. So I kind of got the fire going real good. It sounds real rockety, which I'm happy with. The inside is kind of charring, and can't get too close. It's real hot. You can kind of see the fire coming out of it, out of the flue. Man, it's hot. So it's working good. I don't know how much it's going to crack. I mean, it's real wet still on the outside. You can kind of see it starting to crack. I don't know if that's going to affect anything or how much the cracks are going to open up. But I figure what I'll do, you know, once it's all set and kind of stable, I'll mix up some real nice clay and mix it with some sand and put a nice finish on it that'll hold up to the weather a little bit better. It's not bad for, you know, it really didn't cost me anything. I had a little, you know, couple bits of fence, and, you know, the dirt was here, and it's really didn't take too long. I probably would have got it done in a few hours if I didn't have to redo it twice. But all in all, it took me about 4 hours to make it, and it should heat water like crazy. I mean, there's a lot of energy coming out of the top of it from just a few little bits of wood, which is great. So now I can heat water for my for scalding my birds, and put them through the plucker, and I can do it all outside instead of doing the scalding in the house, which is, you know, nasty to carry a dripping wet dead thing through the house. So this will work out much better, and it's, you know, it's using energy source that I have in abundance, which is wood. So here it is, a rocket cooker. Enjoy.